Professional and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
This is the Consumer Quarterback Show with Brandon Rhymes. Brandon is out today. My name is James DeJerome. I'm the executive producer of the Consumer Quarterback Show with Brandon Rhymes. If you're not familiar with our program, it is a consumer advocate show. Brandon put this show together to provide some information to all the consumers out there in the Bay Area. We want to empower you a little bit. We want to give you some spending power in the marketplace, give you some knowledge that'll make your dollar go farther. And so we've established a team, really. The Consumer Quarterback Show is a team of business professionals. They get together. They share an interest in making sure that you, as the consumer, have some information that'll empower you and make your dollar go farther. So they take time out of their busy day, come into the studio right here in our Salem Media Group studios and provide some information for you. So in addition to the team members, those business owners that come in and provide that information, we have a lot of sponsors on the show too. Of course, Brandon, being the owner of the Platinum MVP team, he's a Keller Williams agent. He has a lot of home-related services. One of our big sponsors we just brought on board is Jade's Premium Quality Cleaning. Jade's Premium Quality Cleaning is a family-owned business. They're involved in all Brandon's real estate properties. They get out there and clean everything. Jade has been on the show before. Her and her kids get together and do all this work. Again, she's a family-owned business, minority-owned business. They do such a great job. Jade's Premium Quality Cleaning is who you want to get in touch with if you have any cleaning needs. Again, they work for all Brandon's real estate properties and do such a great job. Great team members and, of course, sponsors here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. So, again, part of the show is our team and our sponsors and our partners. So our partners today, Diane, Vance, our Fairway independent mortgage expert. She comes on the show all the time, provides information for you folks out there trying to get into a home or maybe a second home or move up by, all those different things. Diane, what's going on today?
Well, the interest rates are still really good, and it's a great market. Still not enough houses on the market. I'm sure you all know that.
Yeah.
And we need more homes, so we're pre-approving. I'm going to talk about the pre-qualification, pre-approving process today, and they just need homes to buy.
That's right. Scarcity all around the Bay, so it's important that you're ready to make that move. If you feel you find the right place, boy, it's a lot of competition out there on that side. Also in our Salem Media Group studios, Ray Hall from Ray Hall Appraisals. How's it going on, Ray?
It's going great. Like Diane said, it's a busy time out there for the real estate appraiser because
driving all over the place, staying busy.
I am. My days start early and they go till late at night. But as an appraiser, we take care of refinances as well as purchases.
Okay.
So kind of on the same side as Diane, where we're just more work than we could.
Now, how does scarcity impact you, Ray, as far as not having that many properties up for sale?
It really doesn't impact me in what I do as an appraiser. Actually, what helps me is there's so many more sales going on right now.
Okay.
We need that data.
I got you.
That's where we drive our opinion of value from, is that sales data. Mm-hmm. So we have a lot of that. The problem is there's a lot more fluctuations right now in sales prices because people are now buying on emotion.
Okay.
The fear of not being able to get that house. So we'll see prices kind of a little more fluctuated mm-hmm. than just a steady, set of sales that we usually see.
So a little added pressure in the market due to the scarcity. Opportunities are not as prevalent as they used to be, so people are getting ready and pulling the trigger when they have to. So Diane, let's get into it a little bit. Tell me, people think once they get pre-qualification, they're just free to shop, but there's a time limit on that, and there's a difference between what you think is pre-approval and pre-qualification.
Yeah, so pre-qualification is basically where I've just verbally taken your information and I maybe ran a credit report or maybe not, and I'll pre-qualify you based on, what parameters that you've given me. The pre-approval comes when I've actually documented your income, where's your down payment coming from? Is it coming from your funds or is it a gift funds or where is it coming from? And the pre-approval process then goes into, we do what is called an automated underwriting system. It usually takes several hours to do a pre-approval, but that's what we do because listing agents they don't want to see an offer unless you are pre-approved because they have so many offers coming in on homes that they want to make sure that when they do accept them, and I get a lot of calls from agents when they receive a contract, making sure I have reviewed income. They do have the down payment. So all of those things pull credit, of course. We don't go into details about credit or anything like that. We just say, yes, we've reviewed everything and they are pre-approved. So I always take the extra step. And if I have a question on something, we have a program that we can actually put it into processing and actually have an underwriter review it. So the underwriter, even though a loan is pre-approved, so in the mortgage world, it's a check and balance system. So we go in, and I'm very experienced, so I know typically what's going on. Once in a while, something may slip in there, but I look at year-to-date income, especially with the COVID this year. It wasn't so important before,
right?
But we get your W-2s and your pay stubs, and then I look at your year-to-date income, and does it match? Even though you have an hourly wage or a salary or something like that, if you were off because of a COVID furlough or something like that, then all we do is just get an explanation, or we even take it one step further and get a verification of employment from your employer, and typically they're pretty good about explaining things for us. So everything is really, so that's where it starts, and then, of course, once you get a contract, then it goes into a full application.
Okay.
And that application is, you can actually do a full loan approval that goes to an underwriter. Underwriters actually are the ones that sign off on. So they're checking us. So our processors check us. Mm-hmm. So what happens is I take your loan, then it goes to my team, and they process. They do the things that in the background. A lot of people don't realize there's a lot of things that we've run to double check things.
Hey,
and
Diane,
then
can we just back up 1 second? I want to get back to during that process. Talk about why, as a potential home buyer, you'd be putting yourself in a bad position if you misrepresented your numbers or gave you false information or something came up later, because that'll queer the whole deal.
Yes, it actually can. And if you give me information that isn't accurate, let's say you say that you've never had a foreclosure, let's say, just for instance. Well, we run something that in the background that tells us if there's in your name to tell us what comes up.
Right.
So sometimes foreclosures, and a lot of times it's innocent because it may have been, 10 years ago that they actually went into the foreclosure, but the bank didn't actually foreclose on them until 5 years ago. So that can hurt your deal.
Have you seen a divorced spouse and not realize that the other spouse has influenced the credit?
Absolutely, I have, yes. Now, in that situation, what we do is then we get a copy of the divorce decree and see who was responsible. Mm-hmm. So most divorce attorneys know, or at least I try to tell them, I actually do work with some divorce attorneys. So most of them know that they should actually separate and make sure whoever's staying in the house, that they actually write in there that home is their responsibility. So the mortgage is their responsibility. So typically sometimes that has came up, or a family home, because we'll ask you, do you own any other real estate? And they forget, I had my name on with my brothers and sisters on my parents' house, and so even though it doesn't have a mortgage on it, then that'll show up on that same. It's a report that we run through the government, and it's so it's people don't realize there's a lot of little things that we do in the background.
You can see the value of what Diane's service is, because as a person who's been establishing your credit, say you're in your middle age, 40s and 50s, there's a lot of transactions that have occurred. It's not that easy to say, hey, I have a complete history of everything I've been involved in financially. You definitely need someone to go back and take a good look and comb through it.
Absolutely, and we do that. So we do that up front, and a lot of times it just slips the borrower's mind. But sometimes that can make the difference of whether you actually can close or not. We don't have it happen a lot, but it has happened. I was just talking about prior to the show here that this year, due to COVID, we've had a lot of default student loans show up, and it's because the federal government went in to do forbearance for student loans, right? And then they must have found that a lot of it were in default.
Right.
And some of these are not on the credit reports and things like that. So that's another thing that can actually show up, because one of the questions on the declaration is, have you ever had a federal loan in default?
So just by nature of it being a school loan, it's federal in nature. That's something that changes the report.
Correct. So it can't be in the default status. And so, of course, we've had we've had, anytime there's more than one, it's several.
Right.
But we've had, especially actually they went out and, we always talk about, don't go out and fall in love with home, and then, they have that happen.
Oh, yeah.
But they can fix it. All they do is call their student loan, say, how do I get my payment out of default? They will advise them of what they need to do. It may be like a 3-month period of time that to get it actually out of the default status and start making payments, so they can get it out of default. And a lot of times it does show up in the credit report, or it may show up but because of the forbearance, no payments are showing up right now. So it's really, you just have to know,
right.
Do you have a student loan that's actually in default or not?
That's the critical part about choosing your lender. That's why Diane Vance at Fairway Independent Mortgage is so good, because her experience, she's seen these kind of issues come up before. So she can see things that maybe you can't see coming. In addition, she's got a great team of people you work with. William Crowley, of course, one of our other partners when it comes to credit. Have you had any situation where William's been able to come in and fix someone's credit or save a deal?
Absolutely, of course, yes. We have had William come in and help. Matter of fact, I've actually referred him to some of our other offices in other markets. And he has been able to, so the difference in William, other than like some of the others out there that are credit repair, he's not really a credit repair. What he does is he tells you how to fix your credit, and he helps you, he guides you in doing that. So it's a very, so what's going on.
Right.
He's not just shooting just saying, put everything in dispute. He's actually advising you what to do. So it's very valuable. But yes, we have seen credit scores increase where the customer can actually purchase a home. So absolutely. Sometimes it takes a little longer, but you have to plan. And, and that's then we usually can tell the customer how long it's going
Sure.
to take or close to it. But yes, it's definitely, we talked earlier about, some people, so once they get a pre-approval, the pre-approval expires in 60 days.
Right.
However, your credit report is good for 120 days. So all we do on a pre-approval is we just update, we usually make a phone call. Has anything changed? Like, are you still working?
Right.
I'll make sure of that. So there's a lot of things that, that it can expire, and a lot of people it does because, they get pre-approved and then they, can't find a house.
Sure, that shopping process can take a while.
Yeah, it does. So it's just a wise idea to get, make sure you plan.
Absolutely. Now, one of the things we always do when we have Diane is talk about barriers to home purchase. A lot of people out there are renting and they don't think that they can buy a home because they're in their head it's a 30-year mortgage and they need a big percentage of that down. If you could, Diane, just give people, encourage them a little bit that this is something that is within their grasp.
Oh, absolutely. So you can everybody could purchase a home with 3% down. We have down payment assistance programs. Now, those are a little tighter right now because of the COVID situation, but and the credit scores are higher in those programs. But you can purchase a home with 3% depending on, so we look at if you're paying rent. Typically, I just talked to a customer that they're paying $1,500 a month in rent. So we determined that their down payment actually could come from their first, last, and their security deposit that they were going to get back. Because so if you close in, let's say October, or no, let's say November, you will not have a payment due till January 1st. So they figured up, okay, I get my security deposit back. I don't have to pay this month's rent because I already paid it up
That's
front.
Right.
If I go buy a place, I have to pay, again. So they actually figure up that they're pretty close to having their 3%.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you get it with a good agent that understands, or an agent that understands, depending on the situation, depending on the price range, you possibly could get the seller to pay a portion of your closing costs or all of your closing costs.
Right.
So it just depends on the situation. You can borrow from 401k if you're like me. I have children and I gifted them the down payment. I helped them out. A lot of parents, a lot of other significant others. It's very common. You can borrow against your 401k if you have an IRA that you've had from a previous employer. You can always use that. So you would want to check, of course, your 401k, make sure they allow you to borrow against it, but most do, and you pay yourself back. So it's not really, it's actually an okay situation.
Sure. And there's lots of ways that if you work with a professional, you never know what they're going to find. Like I said, Diane has seen these issues and different things come up with different loans. And she's put so many people into home ownership with crossing that barrier, that first home. Such a great feeling, huh, Diane, to put somebody in their first house?
Oh yeah. I talked about a story because, I'm older, and I wrote an article about in Fairway about, they spotlight people. And I wrote an article about Ruth Ginsburg, right? Because she was the one that actually changed that women could actually do a mortgage in their own name, and you could actually have a bank account in your own name. Well, when I was younger, I was of childbearing years. I wasn't pregnant, but I was of childbearing years, and the bank, it was a savings and loan, and they had declined us because I was working full time with a very good job, and they declined us because I was of childbearing years. They ended up, of course challenged that, but the satisfaction of that first home and actually going through that, so I know what the disappointment and then what the then actually having it happen, how excited I was. I do realize how excited it is. Exciting. I love seeing people get into a home, and I get a lot of nice thank yous and things like that. It's just it's great to see, especially for anybody getting into a home. It's always exciting, but the first time home buyers is even more exciting because it is their first home.
Oh yeah, and it's that initial investment, that start of your opportunity to build some wealth and establish your own place. What a great feeling. Again, that's Diane Vance, Fairway Independent Mortgage. Let Diane help you out if you're trying to get into a house or looking for some loan options. When we come back, we're going to talk to Ray Hall Appraisals. He kind of works with Diane, we talked about William Crowley, the credit magician. We're a team here at the Consumer Quarterback Show. We're all working together. We want you and your dollars to do better in the marketplace. And I'm going to do that because Brandon wants me to, and because he's out there doing the same thing for you guys. So all of that, plus a feel-good story, so don't go anywhere. The Consumer Quarterback Show rolls on.
This is Warwick Dunn, and you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show hosted by my man, Brandon Rhymes.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
My friends, when choosing a listing agent to sell your home, their track record is critically important. Dennis Prager here for Brandon and Lindsay Rhymes, owners of Platinum MVP Team at Keller Williams Real Estate. They're consistently rated by the MLS in the top 1% of all Tampa Bay realtors, and that's a big deal. Brandon and Lindsay are always among the top realtors in the state. Call them today at 813-750-0550.
Find them at platinummvpteam.kw.com.
Selling commercial or residential property? Don't leave money on the table. List with the Platinum MVP Team at Keller Williams Realty. I'm Brandon Rhymes. Reach me at 813-670-7372 or platinummvpteam.com.
My name is James DeJerome, and I produce the Consumer Quarterback Show for Brandon Rhymes. The Consumer Quarterback Show is a team, a group of like-minded professionals who partner together to provide our audience sound advice, knowledge, and information to make them wiser consumers. We work with all types of business owners and aggressively promote our local economy. We're currently conducting interviews for our expert contributors. If you own a business or know someone who would benefit from the exposure our show provides, please contact us at 813-750-0550 or online at consumerqb.com.
You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
That's right. ConsumerQB.com is where you can find all the Consumer Quarterback Show partners, in addition to our sponsors and some properties from the Platinum MVP Team that Brandon has to show you. Speaking of that, we've got some sponsors for this segment. Golf Cart Depot is the sponsor for this segment. Golf Cart Depot has been on board now for a couple months, and I didn't realize how cool golf carts are till you get out to Golf Cart Depot. Man, they got all different makes and models. You can put 4 or 6 people. You got all kinds of different power sources. Great for kids. You know, kids love these things. Brandon runs out there and does business. He's got his dogs running around. They'll customize the cart for you. So Discovery Golf Carts, Tampa Clearwater, discoverygolfcars.com. Get in touch with them, man. The golf carts are for everything. Now, everyone's got one. It's a really cool option and another thing that your kids are going to really love. All right, so in addition to our sponsors, Brandon and the Platinum MVP Team have real estate even in this time of scarcity. We got a couple of properties for you. Johnny's going to throw some up on the screen for you. So the Platinum MVP Team constantly has real estate available. 13204 Fawn Lily Drive in Riverview. That's 4,500 square feet. It's a 6.5 with 3-car garage. Really a resort-style amenities right on the water there. That's a good-looking property at 13204 Fawn Lily Drive in Riverview. Get in touch with Brandon and the Platinum MVP Team anytime you want to talk about real estate. Here comes another one at 5832 Beverly Drive in Hudson. This is an opportunity for you to build your dream home right there. Sailboat, depth water, easy access to the Gulf, sport fishing, kayaking. That's an open lot. 5832 Beverly Drive in Hudson, right on the water. Man, what a great opportunity for a fisherman. Look at that beautiful opportunity. All right, so anytime you hear a real estate property pitched on the show, you get in touch with Brandon and the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams. And in addition to our sponsors, and we talked about some of our team members, Ray Hall's been a member of the team here for a while. Ray, what's going on in the appraisal world?
Appraisal world's busy right now.
Yeah.
Like I said, we take care of refinances and purchase transactions. So, I haven't been this busy since, 2005, 2006.
Is it heavy or new or refi or where are we?
It's kind of a combination of both.
Okay.
People are trying to take advantage of those interest rates. So it is a good time to purchase if you're looking to purchase for the first time. Now's a great time because, you're going to have that low interest rate. And if you're going into that 30-year fix, it's going to be fixed in because I don't see interest rates going much lower than they are right now.
Almost impossible.
Yep. Yeah, pretty much. But, I would tell people, though, just be careful of the transaction you're getting into. A lot of people are starting to overpay for their real estate. I remember back in 2005, you'd always get in that bidding war. And then we go out there as the appraiser, and we're getting yelled at because the appraisal comes in below contract. Right. But, you got to think of it logically. This is going to be one of the biggest purchases you make, in your life. Mm-hmm. Do you really want to go into that purchase underwater? When you're taking that big of a loan out on it.
Yeah, so you better have an appraiser that you can trust and really talk about specifics with because there's some real subtle nuances. And you talked earlier about different comps and locations and different trying to be apples to apples. It's not as easy as it sounds.
It's not. And, some especially if you're in a unique property. I've had, people call me up saying, I'm buying this house and the bank has ordered their appraisal, but I want to order my own. And I don't want you to know what the contract price is. I'm not going to tell you that.
I see.
But
so you're independent of the other appraiser.
Exactly. And that's just for their own,
peace of mind.
Okay. And it's most likely I'm going to be right, kind of along in that if that appraiser's doing a good job and doing what he's supposed to do. I had it recently where a house was appraised. For some reason, the lender wanted a second appraisal. Unfortunately, and I wish they hadn't, they showed me the other appraisal, which I really don't want to see that. I'd rather just know the contract and go through there. And I wish they hadn't because I'm coming in at my value and I'm adjusting and doing what I do in my analysis and all my regression and everything. I'm coming in right where that guy was at. So, so you might just have a peace of mind by hiring that second appraisal. But if you feel like you're overpaying, there's nothing wrong with hiring an appraiser to come out. He can do something a little less than what the bank might order, but still give you that same value and give you that peace of mind going into the transaction.
Well, you just don't want to leave money on the table. Brandon talks about that all the time because just a few changes in a point here, a point there, and next thing you know, you spend a little more than you wanted to.
Yeah, and real estate's a sensitive market. I always kind of warn people, there's nothing wrong with taking a loan out or, refinancing, maybe to pay off some high interest loans, but don't take out more than you need. You don't want to take all that equity out. Yeah. We've also always were told by our parents, when you get a credit card, don't max it out.
Right.
Use it for emergencies. Well, if you go and take out the max amount of equity you have in your house, guess what? You just maxed the credit card. That's exactly what you just did. So down the road, when you need it, it's not there because you maxed it out. And it's going to take 30 years to pay it back.
Yeah, it's something that you got to think about. Ray Hall Appraisals right here in our Salem Media Group studios trying to help you guys see value and where the value is. We're going to get into a little more of that when we come back. Real quick, Ray, we got about 30 seconds. Just in the recent times when you go north, and how far north and south?
5 counties of the Tampa Bay area. So Hernando, Pasco, Pinellas, Hillsborough, Manatee, Polk.
So Ray's familiar with all the different areas out there. If you're in our listening audience and you want to know what values are or comps in your neighborhood, it's not just as easy as going on and looking at numbers because, again, houses are subtly different from one another, and it's all about finding the correct match.
That's right. And, what we do, it's not easy. It looks easy. Right. All you do is see me come out, take some pictures and some notes, and I always tell people, this is the easy part of my day.
Right.
Now's the hard part.
When you get into the comparisons. All right, when we come back again, Ray's going to come back to us and tell us some more about what you can assume in terms of appraisal. We got a couple of feel-good stories for you. We got our more sponsors, more team members coming on the show. I'm going to tell you about I wanted you to guess how big this pumpkin is that we got on display here in Tampa, but don't say we don't have any celebrities in our town because I'm going to tell you about the world's largest pumpkin. All right, come on back. The Consumer Quarterback Show rolls on.
This is Chris Voss, former FBI lead hostage negotiator and owner of the Black Swan Group, and you're listening to Consumer Quarterback Show hosted by my friend Brandon Rhymes.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
Alrighty, let me know when you want to proceed. Alrighty, everybody stand by, please.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You're listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-670-7372.
Give Brandon a call if you have any questions about real estate or the local real estate market here in the Bay Area. Brandon has put this show together for you as a consumer. He wants your dollar to go farther in the marketplace and empower you with some information. Of course, we've spoke with Diane Vance from Fairway Independent Mortgage in our first segment. We spoke a little bit with Ray Hall from Ray Hall Appraisals, two of our great partners here on the show. I want to introduce you to another sponsor. It's the Bilmar Beach Resort. The Bilmar Beach Resort, very unique property here in our area. If you ever want to get out to the beach, take some time, go to the Bilmar Beach Resort. It's got a unique feel. It's got about 90% of the rooms face the water. He's got a huge beach down there. Of course, he's got Sloppy Joe's and a couple other different amenities. Restaurant-wise, entertainment's always going on. Clyde Smith, the GM of the Bilmar Beach Resort, partner on the show, comes on all the time, says book directly. Don't go through any of those websites or anyone claiming to get you the best rate, because Clyde says you'll get it directly from him. So call Clyde directly at the Bilmar Beach Resort, bilmarbeachresort.com. They do a great job, and what a great hotel, fun place to go. All right, in addition to that, we've been talking about real estate. Of course, Brandon is a realtor, and he's always got properties available. So I want Johnny to throw up another one for you. This one is 6417 Yvette Drive in Hudson. 1,900 square feet, 2-bedroom, 2-bath, deep saltwater canal. It's got a second-story wooden deck, which is a really cool feature to look out over the water. New vaulted ceilings, new flooring, really sharp-looking property. 6417 Yvette Drive in Hudson. It's a 2-2, and again, deep saltwater canal. Very cool. Here's another one for you at 422 Wildwood Way in Bel Air, 2,281 square feet. It's a 2.5, two-car garage, built in 2004, newly renovated. It's got those cool white cabinets that Chris Robinson, our new partner from About Face Cabinetry, talks about as the new-looking kitchens. So give Brandon a call, 422 Wildwood Way, Bel Air. The Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty has properties available for you. All right, before the break, we were speaking with Ray Hall from Ray Hall Appraisals. We were talking about comps and why it's not so easy to base your house on your neighbor's cost, because your houses are not identical. Mm-hmm. Ray has to go out and make those determinations, and sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's not so easy. You had some examples you were going over a little bit before the break?
Yeah, a lot of times, we might get a property where it's the nicest one in the neighborhood.
Okay.
And they've done what we've called an over-improvement.
I was going to talk to you about this today. It specifically applies to me. I think I may have gone a little further than my neighborhood. Tell me about that situation.
Well, that's a problem. And like I always tell everybody, don't be that guy. Don't be the nicest one in the neighborhood. Because what we have to do is we have to prove that your house is worth what you think it's worth. If every other house in the neighborhood is selling for $200,000 and you put $100,000 worth of work in your house, mm-hmm. It doesn't necessarily equal $100,000 in value.
Absolutely.
So we may have to find a superior comp in a competing neighborhood, and it might come down a little bit, and move it up to maybe like a 225.
Right.
But the likelihood of you being $100,000 above everybody else that's the same size, same location, highly unlikely.
So those changes, those additions are not a dollar-for-dollar automatic return. So whether you're talking about a pool, a patio, whatever it is, you need to look around your neighborhood and see if you're in the mind to sell, just what is going to make money for you in the sale.
And you can even do this, and I offer this to people. Call an appraiser. Mm-hmm. Ask, I would like an after value if I do this addition, or if I renovate my kitchen. And this is what I'm thinking of doing to the kitchen. The appraiser can come out. You can paint the picture for them.
Right.
We can give you a value now and a value after, or just the value after, or something like that. This is how investors, determine how much they're going to pay for a property. Right. And an appraiser can do that for you. Now, if you're looking to stay in this house for 30 years, it's probably not going to matter too much to you. By the time you're selling the house, it's going to be dated. But if you're looking to maybe sell within the next year or two, and you want to do some improvements to put some value, I would highly recommend just getting your own independent appraiser to come out and let you know what value these improvements are going to bring, because it's very easy to go over. And
absolutely, we all have personal tastes, and we say, I really like this, or I really like that, or I think the pool does this, or I wanted a fountain, whatever it is that made the home your own unique place. It may not transfer value-wise to the next buyer.
Yeah, I did, because I built my house in 2014. I had my garage extended an extra 5 feet, so my garage is like 30 feet long. It cost me money, but it doesn't bring any more value to my house.
It's a garage to the next buyer.
Exactly. I built a pool. Cost me a lot of money. I don't have dollar for dollar value back on my house. I have some value because of it, but it's not dollar for dollar. So, you've got to be careful, know what you want to do with this house.
When you're in that situation where you are way over the market value of the homes in your immediate area, even if it's your homeowner, and we talked about, hey, this is my dream, I'm not going anywhere, I don't need to sell, but you can't predict the future. Exactly. So, events happen in your life, and now you do have to get out of that house. Is there a strategy? I mean, you don't want to undevelop it, or what am I saying? You don't want to take things away to try to match the neighborhood. What do you do in that situation, Ray?
In that situation, you may just be stuck footing the bill. Now, you've made the house really nice. You may want to consider renting the house out.
Right.
Have a property manager come out, and tell you what kind of rent they can get for it. It may be you could make money on it.
I see.
And a property manager, they'll handle the tenants. You don't have to fix the toilets and everything. They handle all of that. They usually take about 10% of the rent,
right?
And then you get that back. So that's one strategy. But those things do happen, and I've seen people where they put a lot of money into a house and it just didn't come back when they had to resell.
That's why you want to consult with Ray on the front end before you get too carried away. If these upgrades are intended to increase the value for sale, then we want to make sure they do increase the value for sale. It's not as simple as saying, hey, we just put new flooring in here, we just did this, we just did that. It's got to be the right moves.
And things like flooring, paint, those are nice things you can do that are kind of, when it comes to home updates, kind of a minimal of an expense.
Gotcha.
I remember one house I went to, it was a small house in an older neighborhood, and they spent a lot of money putting solar electric into it. And which in some areas, in some houses, you'll get your value back.
Right.
But unfortunately, in this area, they didn't, and they had just purchased it. And the reason they did it was it was going to be their forever home.
Gotcha.
Well, a year later,
circumstances changed.
Circumstances changed. They had to leave, and basically, they would have made a lot more money on the sale of that house. But unfortunately, we couldn't, as the appraiser, I couldn't justify that adjustment for those solar panels, because I did find a comparable that had it. And after everything else was done, it was my lowest adjusted comparable.
So you can see that that knowledge is very important. And again, we all there's so many people that flip homes and look for properties to invest in, and they're coming from out of state. There's creating so much pressure in the market that the temptation is, let's quickly, new bathroom, new kitchens, let's do everything we can.
Exactly.
Get the for sale sign out there and let's turn this thing over. You better think about it on the front end before you get too far extended yourself.
Exactly. And also, how much equity do you have in the house? Make sure you have a little bit of a cushion before you go ahead and do that. In some houses now, that renovation's it's probably gonna pay itself back, twice fold. Look at the Seminole Heights area.
Right.
If you were to go over there and buy an older bungalow, if you put the renovations into it, generally in that area, people do make a considerable amount of profit by renovating the house and then reselling it. But make sure that's going on in your neighborhood.
Yeah, there's a timing aspect, right?
Timing aspect, and also it's called the life cycle. Is that neighborhood in that life cycle where it's going through gentrification,
right,
and it's going to make a profit on fixing up those houses? If you're on a neighborhood that unfortunately is in a decline, maybe, the houses were built 20 years ago and now they're getting older and it's less desirable, you might want to rethink that high-end renovation.
Absolutely.
You may just want to put some paint and new carpet down and sell it that way. So you've got to know that stuff.
Ray Hall Appraisals, great partner on the show, always giving us great knowledge. Ray, how's the best way for people to get in touch with you if they want to come out?
You can go to my website, rayhallappraisals.com. You can call me in the office, 813-452-5369. Or if you ever want to just shoot me an email, ray@rayhallappraisals.com. Happy to take your questions, and maybe we can even address some of those on the show.
Good stuff. Ray Hall Appraisals. Don't hesitate to get in touch with Ray. Of course, all our partners are available at our website, consumerqb.com. When we come back, we've got Alex Lima right here in our Salem Media Group studios. We're going to talk a little bit about fitness, and his black belt experience. Don't go anywhere. Consumer Quarterback Show rolls on.
Hey, this is Grant Cardone, and you're listening to Consumer Quarterback Show, hosted by my friend Brandon Rhymes. Do not touch that dial. I'll come right through the radio and grab your throat.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
This is Diane Vance with Fairway Independent Mortgage, a member of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Please give me a call for any of your mortgage needs. We do all sorts of loans. If you would like information on a mortgage, you can text me or call me at 727-647-8199. I will take care of all your mortgage needs. Go to my website at dianevance.com.
Ian Beckles here with my man Brandon Rhymes, a.k.a. the real estate quarterback. Brandon, what's happening with the market?
Thanks, Ian. We are in a low inventory market, so any of our listeners are homeowners and would like a free comparable market analysis or a 2.5% listing, we will honor this for the first 3 listeners who call or text in 813-773-1253. Free CMA and a 2.5% real estate listing at 813-773-1253. Check out consumerqb.com. Selling commercial or residential property? Don't leave money on the table. List with the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. I'm Brandon Rhymes. Reach me at 813-670-7372 or platinummvpteam.com.
You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
ConsumerQB.com is where you can find all the partners on the Consumer Quarterback Show. In addition to some of our great sponsors, I got a sponsor for this segment. It's Brothers Easy Moving. Brothers Easy Moving not only does local but long-distance moves. They're a partner on the show because they got directly involved in Brandon's move. After Brandon saw the kind of work these guys did, he made sure that they were brought on board as his official mover. So anytime he has a real estate transaction that requires a move, again, whether it's local or long distance, he gets involved with Brothers Easy Moving. It's exactly who you want to call because those guys really care about what they do, and they do a great job. Brothers Easy Moving is the official moving company of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Of course, we've got properties available. Brandon's going to throw up a property, or we got one from the Platinum MVP team. Johnny's going to throw up for me. So I can tell you about it. Even in this time of real estate scarcity, the Platinum MVP team has some properties for you. 4209 Preserve Place in Palm Harbor, 2,295 square feet. It's a 2-2 condo with a 2-car garage right on the water. It's got a bonus room as well, and it's got those white cabinets that are the new look that we talked about with Chris Robinson from About Face. The MVP team, Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. That's who you want to get in touch with for all your real estate needs. All right, in our Salem Media Group studios, Alex Lima is here. Alex, it's been a little while since you've been with us. Tell me what's going on with you.
Yeah, man, just trying to adapt and overcome with the times.
Right.
Just trying to basically survive through 2020, see what 2021 brings for us.
Crazy year, and of course, the challenges for all kinds of different businesses. Your business, gyms, training, fitness, man, really tough.
In particular, yeah, we took a massive hit as far as being able to operate at all. You know, and even now that they're allowing us to operate, I mean, you still have the people wearing the mask and the stigma of doing, I've always been heavy on sanitizing and everything anyways, but it's even more so. So, like my guys, they come in, everybody's getting a temperature check. We're using hand sanitizer coming on and off the mat. No sharing of equipment. Once it's yours, it's yours, So
a new way to do things.
Yeah. We'll see if it's a better way. Let's find out. Yeah.
And then now you're going on location.
Yeah, so I do some mobile training as well. That's kind of been the main focus. But even though I'm not overly concerned with how COVID is turning now, we still want to expand and be able to reach different markets. So I'm keeping the actual in-house training to keep it to smaller groups so people feel comfortable. New clients coming in. And then also I'm doing off-campus training as well. So I could come to you and I can bring mats and I'll bring pads and weights and everything, kettlebells, whatever. And we can train whatever you want.
Very cool. One-on-one opportunity to get Alex right there with you directly. That's a pretty cool thing.
Yeah, absolutely. It can be in your house, in your garage. We can move some spots, in your living room, or we can take it to a park nearby. Or you can come to me as well still.
Again, this is, we talk a lot on the show about self-defense because we want you to be prepared for any situation that might occur. But this is just good fitness as well. I mean, it's just something that keeps you in shape. It's fun. It's also a way to stay in shape.
It's the best. It's the best. I was talking with some guys the other day. I gave some guys a pretty good beating in the gym, and they were like, "Man, it's the hardest I've ever trained." And they're good athletes,
Right.
you know. And the thing is, like, when you're doing cardio, like you go to the gym, you're hitting some sets, or you go run around a lake, whatever it may be. You can pause. You can be like, I'll hit it in a second. Let me take an extra breath. You can't do that when a dude's trying to punch you in the face.
Right.
You cannot say, "Hey, time out. Let me breathe for a second."
No, I thought it's the same with wrestling. Anytime you're one-on-one and that you think that you're in good shape, but the taxing your oxygen, man, right away you realize I need air.
It will test your mettle. It definitely will. And the breathing is different, and that's something that's not really touched upon too much. Like, the breathing when you're lifting weights is, you're controlled breathing, very controlled. My breathing when I'm striking is very much,
right?
Little short bursts of breath. But then when you're grappling and you tie up, it needs to be.
Yeah, it's not.
And you have to switch gears in the middle of a fight.
Yeah.
When you break the breathing, it messes with your head some.
And then, of course, you're taking contact as well, so it can interrupt your breathing cycle as well.
For sure. A nice hit to the bread basket will change your breathing for sure.
And this is for everyone. You got kids, the girls, everyone's involved.
All walks of life. All walks of life. I have a method of training for everybody, from a high-level athlete to a mom that just wants to get a little bit of her fitness on, that's fine, to the person that maybe wants to do private lessons of just learning self-defense. Maybe they had a bad experience or something, and now they want to learn how to protect themselves.
I wanted to ask you about flexibility. I know it's been a larger and larger part of athletics across the board. From the time 25 years ago when it was all about weights and strength, it seems like flexibility has really come in. You guys are all about flexibility. I mean, it certainly helps you a ton in that field.
I always have been very big on flexibility. It's for me, it's one of the greatest attributes you can have. Most people, like, the average guy comes in, been weightlifting for a lot of years. He can throw a kick to the legs, but if I increase his flexibility, now that leg kick becomes a body kick and a head kick.
Mm-hmm.
So one weapon has now just become three.
Yeah.
And then I always talk about it, as we get older, your flexibility is going to be the attribute that you're going to wish you had the most.
Yeah.
When you're a 90-year-old man, you're not going to care about a 250-pound bench press.
Absolutely not.
You're just going to want to be able to bend down and tie your shoe without throwing out your back. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So there's just no downside. Flexibility makes you a better athlete all around.
Now, I'm familiar with football stretch and different stretch for competition. Is there a unique stretch or a particular area of the body that you require maximum stretch?
Full body. I mean, everything. Our with martial arts specifically, your hip flexors a lot. You need a lot of hip dexterity and mobility, but everywhere. Because we're getting our arms cranked and twisted in strange positions. So.
Well, speaking of kicks, I know you saw the fight. What was it, a couple of days, a week ago, maybe?
Yeah.
The kid had a leg tied up and spun around. Now, if you're a martial arts guy, you're familiar with spinning back kick. It's like you want to do it. You've been dying to do it, right?
Yeah.
This guy's tied up and pulls it off. I was going to ask you, with one leg in the air, I'm not sure I understood exactly how that went down.
So. It's cool. It's a highlight kick, but
Right.
It was also kind of like a Hail Mary, kind of lucky. That's not something that like he trains day in and day out, just kind of threw it. But what actually allowed him to land that kick was the fact that his opponent was holding onto his leg.
Yeah.
So that gave him the balance and stability to jump up, spin around. Why this guy is still holding him to then, that's about as hard as you can get hit. That spinning back kick like that is about the hardest hit you can
I don't know if you guys are familiar with what we're talking about. If not, go to YouTube, check it out. Who are the combatants? Do you remember?
It was in the UFC. I forget. It was actually weird because it was. Not weird, but it wasn't like a main event. It was like one of the undercard guys.
Yeah, it was just a stunning knockout. The way it unfolded, you want to see it. It's shocking. You haven't seen that kind of a kick to the head like that.
It's impressive. And again, that's I teach my guys, like, your side kick, which is essentially what it was, a spinning side kick, is like the hardest kick you can essentially throw to a human being, because it activates all your leg muscles, your hamstring, your glutes, your quads, everything. It's like your leg pressing strength.
And a lot of momentum in that spin.
The velocity. It's about as hard as you can get hit in a fight.
Yeah. I again, it took me by surprise when I saw it, just because I was like, wow, I didn't expect him to pull that off.
Yeah, definitely the next time they do like the top 20 knockouts in the UFC, it'll be on the countdown.
Do you find with students that they're in a hurry to do something, they want to kick or do something besides just having the fundamental idea of what you're doing out there?
Always. And that actually becomes the biggest dropout rate, because I won't cater to somebody's ego, like what they want to learn.
Right.
Because fundamentals win more fights than that flashy stuff. If we do a pie chart and we see how many fights have been won by flashy stuff like that, it's a very, very small percentage compared to your basic cross, hook, punch, roundhouse, your fundamentals. They're the fundamentals and the basics for a reason. Just like any sport, you have to know the fundamentals, because that's gonna get you more mileage.
Do you even start in a certain way? Do you progress before you go to the ground? Do you start teach them on the ground first and then up, or how's striking?
Well, we're well-rounded. We're a full mixed martial arts program when I am teaching that stuff. So there is kind of like there's different levels. We do still follow like a belt system, and your beginner level, so like your white to yellow belts, they have a certain curriculum that I need them to know before they start getting into that spinning and fancy stuff.
Right.
But that going back to that I have a certain fundamentals and curriculum that they have to know for the striking game, for the wrestling game, and for the ground game. So there's beginner of each that you have to follow.
Okay. Now, one thing that didn't occur to me until I tried to do it myself is, in order to throw those kicks, you've got to have pretty strong feet and ankles. I don't know how you train pain tolerance for that kind of thing, but if you think you're just going to go up without ever kicking someone and you're just going to kick them with your shin,
you're in for a rude awakening.
Wow, it's going to surprise you.
Yeah, so shin conditioning, and we do that for every part of our body. You'll watch a lot of the old school like Japanese karate guys punching something called a makawara board, like to toughen up your knuckles. I used to do that growing up as a kid, doing knuckle push-ups on bricks to tighten up, to make callus my big two knuckles. Absolutely. That you should be hitting with. I used to train with some Muay Thai fighters that would go out back in the day when Clearwater Beach had the the concrete, the metal parking meters, the metal ones, and go out there and we would be ding, ding, ding. I mean, we weren't kicking like, full blast, but you're hitting enough.
It doesn't take a lot.
We'd get a glass Coke bottle and just start banging at your shins after class, because you have to develop that scar tissue, because everybody at some point has taken a shot to the shin. We know how unpleasant it is. Think about it in a fight when you're throwing a 60-mile-per-hour kick coming like that.
I had an experience as a kid, just an aside, just to show you how sensitive that area is. New York, St. Patrick's Day parade. Police officer says, "Hey man, get back on the sidewalk." The guy's like, "I'll get on the side." Just a little. He just took a nice, just a tiny little tap on the face of the shin, and whoop, dropped him like that. As a little kid, I was like, "How did he do that?" He knew exactly where to hit him.
Yeah, there's a lot of tough guys until they get hit in the shin good one time. Yeah.
What other areas? I know that there's certain spots that have a bigger impact on the jawline where the nerves erupt. They talk about a glass chin. It's really a fact that there's a nerve eruption where the nerves come through your jaw.
It's not even so much that. What really happens is the way that your head shaped is, so our brain is floating in cerebral spinal fluid, right? And that just happens to be a focal point that when you hit it, it gives maximum bounce to what's going on inside. And that's why you get your concussions. That's why you can take a pretty solid shot to the side of the head, but here you get more spin and vibration going. You get your brain banging against the inner walls.
Have you seen fighters that get specific and try to target the unique areas like that?
We train for that.
Is that
My
right?
guys do. Yeah, absolutely. We got certain light switches that we're going for. A good fighter should be going. It's a waste of time to throw a punch and be punching you in the shoulder or the chest. I need to hit target areas that are going to cause damage and make maximum effect for what I'm trying to accomplish.
Wow. What other stuff besides strength? Do you guys just regular weight training, or is there any unique weight training or any kind of strength training?
So we take I'll throw some fundamental, like your big three. I think is important for overall strength and development of the body. But it's a lot of functional and mobility type training. So I mix a lot of things, man. We do bands, we do kettlebells, a lot of body weight. I'm very big on
chin push up.
Oh yeah, working that pull up bar. I'm the king on the pull up bar and push ups, man. That was my big game there.
Well, I don't know if you guys use medicine balls or heavy balls, anything like that.
We have slam balls. We got the slam balls, the ones that you throw
20, 30, 40, something like that.
I try to get all the ones I have are around the 20-pound range.
Well, I'm going to ask you, Alex, to guess the weight of the largest pumpkin on display here in the state of Florida.
The largest?
What do you think it weighs?
Ooh, man, I don't know. I've seen some freakish ones like Guinness Book of World Records. I'm gonna go. I'll say 100 pounds.
All right. Well, you're close. 989 pounds. What? Yeah, Tampa residents are looking to get in the fall spirit can visit the local farmers market at Bears Avenue. Family-run market is now home to Florida's largest pumpkin, 989 pounds. They actually purchased it at an auction and brought it down here to put it on display where visitors can come enjoy this during the holiday season over there by Lake Magdalene Boulevard, 1413 Lake Magdalene. 989 pounds, folks. That's a lot of pumpkin pie or whatever you do with pumpkins. Man, that's plenty of it.
That's a lot of pumpkin. If we could maybe set it up when they're done with this little festival, I'd like to see how many hits it takes for me to break through the skin.
You can imagine how many kids want to drop that or push it off that. They can't wait to see that thing blow up.
I want to bust through it. I want to punch that thing till it busts open.
All right, we got about a minute left. Alex, Lima, how can folks who are interested in training, again, folks, it could be your kids, it could be you. There's no age limits. There's no physical barriers. What's the best way to get in touch with you?
So you can call me 813-426-1588, or you can find me on all social media platforms. Google Blackbelt Fitness and Martial Arts Club. Instagram is at Blackbelt_Jitsu. I have a lot of free content on my YouTube channel, self-defense wise and stuff. And that's Black Belt Jones Adventures in Manhood.
Now, you in addition to the dojo, you go to them as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I go. I'm in the process right now of working out, doing seminars throughout the state. So I'm going to start going and teaching kind of my trade secrets.
He's Alex Lima, Blackbelt Fitness. Make sure you get in touch with him. Again, it's about self-defense. It's a great idea. You feel safer. But what about getting in shape? What about your kids? All that stuff. It's all good. Alex is a great partner on the show. Get in touch with him. Blackbelt Fitness. Thanks so much for tuning in today to the Consumer Quarterback Show. I want to thank Brandon Rhymes for giving me the opportunity to sit in for him. I want to send a healing vibe out to Brandon. And I want to make sure you guys check us out anywhere in the world. www.consumerqb.com.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Contact Brandon Rhymes at 813-670-7372. That's 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com. And join us next time for The Consumer Quarterback Show.